Welcome to Up on the Bars discussion with your host, Roy Bain.
Well, I want to give a big shout out. I always forget to do this. Bryce Burtner, who did the intro on there. That's him doing the intro. So thanks, Bryce Burtner out of Southern Oregon, for the intro. I've always forgot to tell him thank you. So thank you, Bryce. That sounds awesome on the intro.
It does.
So welcome to a good Thursday night. I'm currently parked out at the Button Willow TA truck stop. We got Jay Bryant joining us in tonight from Jay's Mobile Welding and Fabrication. And we're welcoming back on the show Brian Littleton. Brian Littleton owns Race Logic Chassis Schools, and he's got his slogan up on there, where winners are made. We're bringing him in here tonight to talk a little bit because we're getting ready to hold the first ever West Coast version of his school. That's coming up February 11th and 12th. He's made it to Vegas, but you hadn't made it out here to the West Coast to do one. This is the first year.
Right. Yeah, this is the first year, and really looking forward to it. We got Fred Ryland on board this year. Really great guy. Got to know Fred well. He runs he's a legitimate guy. Runs a nice tight ship. Got a great shop. Is a great racer through the years, and he was kind enough to welcome us to come out. So me and Wade Cross and Ben Baker is going to come out, and looking forward to it. And then I know, Roy, you can talk a little bit more on your side that we're going to video it, and people will be able to watch it that way as well. So if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yep, with Speed Union, we're going to be there. We're going to record everything that goes on at the classes through Jay, who is the business partner with Speed Union. We've got this set up. We're going to record everything that's done. We'll edit out all the breaks so you don't have to sit through all the breaks when you're watching it home. So it will be up the following week. Stephen Blakesley will do all the editing, get it down. That way you can watch it at home anytime you want. If you go to the class, you'll get to watch it. Part of your fee with going for the in-person class, you'll get access to that to watch. It'll be up all year. You can watch it, go back. And I'm telling you, as having gone to one of his classes, and Jay will tell you the same thing after being to a couple of his classes, you're going to want to watch it over and over because you cannot absorb everything that is put out in the 2-day school. That you'll go back and watch it and go, I missed that. I missed this. I missed that. There's so much information.
Yeah, the best part about being able to do that is when you start doing your setup, you can watch the same clip over and over again. Like, wait, I missed that one part. So you can go back, and I've done it before. I've taken, I think we've been to 5 or 6 of his classes now. And I've gone back every year and looked at stuff. The stock car class that we just did not too long ago last year was amazing. I got to meet a lot of great people. The classes they're worth every penny. I mean, I'd go to all of them. And I went to one. What was that? It wasn't a
Alabama.
super stock. The Alabama one. That wasn't even a class we ran. We don't run anything close to that. But man, did I learn a ton. And it's helped me with everything we've done. I can't speak enough about the classes. I mean, your fee, like you were talking about, Roy, it's like what you pay for the class. I've never walked away from that place upside down. My entry fee is covered. Brian gets so many donations for this class, and the raffles and giveaways that he does are unbelievable. I mean, I walked away one day with, I think I had $700 worth of AFCO gift certificates, a Hammond Motorsport air cleaner that the wife won in the raffle. I mean, everybody walks away with stuff. I mean, he's had guys, I think Van Stone's, is he still doing the pit lights for you?
Yeah, he's doing some stuff there, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can't lose. I mean, it's like, they do raffles, and it's amazing. It is amazing, and the knowledge is a bonus. So
yeah. So one of the big things that we want to talk about on there, because I've heard people talk about chassis. Brian has been doing this 20 plus years. Okay, number one, if you get to know Brian and listen to Brian's story, he doesn't own a race car. He doesn't own a fabrication shop. He doesn't sell parts. He doesn't sell tires. He doesn't do any of that. This school is not designed to bring you in and say, oh, you got to buy this high-dollar part to be successful. You got to buy this to be successful. This is a school that's geared towards people like me and Jay, take a pick out of anybody that runs the pro stocks or anybody you know on a Saturday night. It's to bring people that are successful in the racing business to show you what they do every week to be successful. We all hear, oh, that person's cheating because he's winning all the time, blah, 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 blah. Brian's class, in the first hour that you're there, you're going to find out that's not the case. You're getting beat because somebody spends time in the shop every week going through a methodical process to set up their car. And this is what this school is going to show you. It's going to unlock the keys to what you've got to do in the shop to be successful when you get to the racetrack.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I just came back from one we had this past weekend, and it was honestly unbelievable. Had a lot of people in there. I can't remember exactly the head count, and it was another good one. Every time I always try to make something better. What can I do to make this a little better? And Jay will laugh at this story. He probably knows what I'm going to talk about. But we had one in Alabama, and I had a $500 TV I just bought because we were showing some stuff on the TV. Somebody tripped on the cord, fell on the floor, and Jay probably don't want to tell this story. But at the end of the class, he come by, handed me some money, said, "Go buy you another TV." He don't know what that meant to me. I didn't need the money, and he didn't need to give it to me. But I always remembered him doing that. That's just the kind of person he is, and we've stayed in touch through the years. And he's always supported me, But fixing to leave tonight. I got to fly out to another one tomorrow. But yeah, looking forward to California. We're kind of testing the waters. I mean, all you guys has been on me about coming out there. It's just there's a lot that's got to happen. But honestly, next year with no COVID and no lockdowns, and we're going to highly, highly consider coming to the left coast, as I call it, and try to see if we can. I don't know what classes. I don't know, but I want to go back out there. Got a lot of friends. We had a lot of guys that came to the street stock deal this past weekend from Oregon and California and all the above. So, but this sport my deal. I'm looking forward to it. If you don't know Fred, you need to get to know him. He's a genuine guy, a lot of knowledge, and anybody knows Ben Baker, he could teach a class by himself. I'm telling you, the man, Jay will agree. There's nobody in racing any smarter than he is. There's not. I'm telling you, there's not. And Wade Cross, been building shocks 25 years. I mean, humble guy. He always tells me, he don't ever think he's worthy. And I said, dude, you don't have a clue how really smart you are,
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, it's going to be a great time out there. And Fred's nice enough to let us do it at his shop. So we're looking forward to it. And a lot of great info. Price is reasonable. You get the online version, if you attend. I got a stack of AFCO. Everybody in the class will walk away with a gift certificate. So matter of fact, I'm probably going to make everybody walk away with a $200 off $400 order, whether it's Longacre or AFCO. I mean, a set of tires is what $300 or $400 now. I mean, I'm just telling you, give it a chance. And you guys listen, give it a chance, pay your money, come to it, and you'll be more than happy. I mean, I've been doing a long, long time, and I don't think I've had too many people ever walk away said I didn't get my money's worth, because I'll give you money back on the way out the door if that's the way you feel about it,
No, yep. You've been great about that, and I'll tell you now, one of the things that I loved about all the classes, and I've been to, like I said, I've been to quite a few, my wife and I, and the people he's talking about, I mean, I wish Dave could come, because I love his attitude, and he's a no nonsense kind of guy. Hammond, I mean, he's an awesome cat. I love that guy, but you don't have anyone ever at these classes that are pushing their product. Ben Baker, he's with AFCO, but he'll tell you straight up, if another product's better, he doesn't push it. No one has ever pushed their products. There was one class, and it's not a big deal, but and he hasn't been back since. But the way they handle it is it's a no pressure deal. You're not there. Wade Cross isn't going, here's the shock class, this is a shock package. He explains why a shock works the way it does. If you want to buy from him, great. He'll tell you can go buy over here. You can go buy over here. It's not a sales pitch like these other schools I've been to. And that's the only reason I come back to Brian's, because it's a no pressure, no hassle. Everybody he's had straight up tells you exactly what they're doing. It's not a secret thing. They have their cars on display. A lot of times, the classes back there, it's easier because everybody's back there. They bring cutaway cars. throw cars in dynamic. They talk about all kinds of stuff. I learned about load sticks and, when a car's in dynamic, what's it doing? Everything you think you know is backwards. It's opposite when it's in dynamic because nobody does that.
Right.
And I never knew that. And I think, and not to offend any of our West Coast guys, because there's some badass guys out here, no doubt. But back there, they're 5-8 years ahead of us out here. And so their knowledge, they've already been through the trials and tribulations out there. And when they talk about it, it's no joke. I mean, I learned a ton, and I do every single time.
Right.
And you guys put on a food spread usually that's out of this world. And, it's a lot of fun. I made a lot of friends. I talked to some people back there in Alabama and Nebraska. We're in Nebraska. I talked to a couple of people I met there still. A lot of fun, a lot of camaraderie. Everybody's there for the same thing. You still got the Cube mic?
We still got the Cube mic. We only knocked one guy out of the chair this week with them, so
nice.
It wasn't bad. I mean, that went well. Good. And Jay, honestly, it's this race logger. They're these people are family to me. Like a guy like you. Every time I go, I've had guys been 4 or 5. There's a guy this weekend. I said, "Man, what are you doing back?" And I'm serious. He said, "Brian, I just want to be a part of this. I just want to come." He said, "I'll learn something." After his 4th or 5th trip, he said, "I'll learn something this weekend that'll help me." And you know what's crazy? There was 2 guys, and I just say this past class. There was 2 stock car guys, and one of them has won 22 out of like 30 features this year, and one of them has won like 15, 18 races. And in my mind, I'm thinking, you're done winning. Why are you here? But they say, I want that one little nugget. I'm looking for something that I maybe can hold on to. So, and it doesn't matter. We had new racers, if you're a new racer or you've been doing it a long time, I mean, there's something that you're going to learn. And, Fred is going to have his car there. We'll have it dynamics. He's got a spring smasher, I think, and dyno and load.
I think he had a pull down rig at one time. I don't know if he
still does. And we're going to look at some of that. So I just, like I said, this is an opportunity. We're and it's hard, it's hard for me to get out there, but we're going, and I'm going to fly in.
My grandkids are racing that weekend, the 11th, and they're racing the 11th. It's the last race of the year for them. So I am going to try to get out there on Sunday for a little bit if I can. But
just stop by and see us.
Yeah, I would love to, man. But the dynamic thing, doing that with Dave Hammond and was that Mike that did the B&B chassis out there in Nebraska?
Right.
But watching a car go into dynamic, because everything about caster and camber and all that stuff, man, that shit goes right out the window. It's like when you see what the car's physically doing, it changes how you just do your setup. It really does,
Well, when I went to Vegas, I went, and me and Brian got to know each other before the class, and I've told this story several times. I'm going to say it again. I called Brian. My pit crewman is deaf. So he asked me, he said, "Do you have somebody that can do sign language or an interpreter?" And I said, I've never thought about that. It's not something I do think about. Nothing. I don't know. So I called Brian. I said, "Yeah, I want to come." I said, "My pit crewman is deaf and wants to come out and wants to know if you have a sign language interpreter." Brian, being from Arkansas, is not used to somebody from Oregon or California calling him. He just got deathly quiet. He fought off. Then he finally goes, "Are you being serious?" I said, "Yeah, I'm being serious." I said, "I want to find out. He wants to come over here, but if we can't get him the information, I don't know if it'll." So he sits there, he thinks about it for a little bit. He goes, "I don't want to be rude and I don't want to offend you." He goes, "But are you fucking with me?" That was his exact No, Brian, he doesn't cuss. It was like, "No, I'm being dead serious." He goes, "Okay." He says, "Tell you what I'll do." He says, "Bring him. I'm not going to charge him for the class. If you want to put in $50, you want to put in $100, bring him." And it's like, okay. So I brought him out there, and Brian made sure he got a T-shirt. And Dwayne wears that T-shirt on race day. He wears it like he did a lot just for that. But I just remember that conversation so vividly because it was like he didn't know how to respond, and I didn't think I was asking a ridiculous question. But he's like, "I've been doing this a lot of years and never been asked that question." I said, "Well, now you have." So,
yeah, I've had a guy that he went last year, Charlie Howd, and he's probably watching. He may be watching today, but he's in a wheelchair and he races a late model wheelchair. He's got a hand control,
Right.
and
Nice. That's awesome.
it is awesome. And his slogan. He's actually, if you look him up, he's actually pretty famous.
Okay.
But it says racing for those who can't. And anyway, he called me and said, "Hey, I race. I'm in a wheelchair, and I've heard of it, but I thought it was cool. I met the guy, let him on the front row, and so we try to accommodate. I mean, I probably don't have a lot of business sense because I probably gave away more than people ever realized to charities and letting people in free. But you know what? This racing deal's tough. It's expensive. It's hard. And you know what? If I can just help a few guys get a little better, or maybe that guy running 10th, now he's running 4th, 5th, or a guy running 3rd, now he's winning a couple races. That's what it's all about. Not everybody's going to go and leave there and win a race, but I promise you, if you go, you're going, if you listen and you take notes and you pay attention, you're going to be better for it. No doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, hello, fellas. She's tuned in. But that is something that this class will teach you, and I'm going to point this out. There's some big races for sport mod guys. We just announced that with Southern Oregon last week. There's a 7,007 to win, 707 to start sport mod race at Southern Oregon Speedway. I can assure you Fred Ryland's going to be there racing. I can almost assure you he will be there for that kind of money.
Sure.
If you want to learn how to beat Fred Ryland, come over and let him show you how to beat him. That's why you need to be there.
He's an open book guy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but he's got his own book that he's worked on, and he sent me a rough draft of it. It looks great. So we'll have an outline of the class and what we're going to cover. So he spent a lot of time on this. It's important to him. He's raced a long time. And like I said, I'm a pretty good judge of character. And I don't like to deal with shady people, or they don't stay around me long. I know Jay's the same way in business. But Fred's a legitimate guy, wants to help. I just think it's a great opportunity for any of the guys in California. I know Oregon's probably not too far away either. And, the pro stock guys can come and learn. I mean, they really need to be here, because I don't think the class is going to be real big because we don't have a lot of space. It's a perfect opportunity to get a lot of one-on-one time. There are going to be plenty of opportunity to learn everything you need to know.
Well, one of the things that kept me coming to all your classes, and I'm just going to say this is that made me feel like it was worth every penny I spent flying out there and doing everything I did, is the people you have do the classes. Like you said, you're a good judge of character. Every class I've been to, these guys are winning race car drivers, and they are not holding back. They're not keeping their trade secrets. They don't have their backup car sitting there. They don't put all their stuff in a neutral setup. I mean, they're there to teach you. They're not there to hide stuff. And, I was leery. I was. I mean, I went to the Vegas one too. My cousin and I went to the Vegas one you had, and I was running sport mod at the time. And it was funny because the guy you had doing that class, his wife knew more about the car than he did. He was the driver and she was the crew, and it was great. We had a great time with those people. It was fun, but they do not hold back. And that's one of the things I loved, is you don't have people teaching classes that are, they put different shocks on their car or different springs because they don't want you to know their setup. I mean, it's not about that. It's about how to make you better, and that was one of the things that sold me the most on these classes, and I've had a great time. My wife and I both have a great time coming to them. And, the people you have, like you said, you can't say enough about them. They will point you in whatever direction you want to go, So Wade Cross built my shocks for my stock car, and they were freaking awesome. And I chose to go that route not because of Wade Cross, because when I bought my stock car, it already had his shocks on it. So he already knew the shocks that were on my car. He knew the guy, and I bought my car from a guy out in Utah. And Wade, I gave him the numbers, and Wade knew exactly the car, the shocks, everything, and said, "Hey, that's a good setup for that car. Send them to me." And he worked with me. It was awesome.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm sorry, Roy. It's funny you were saying, I told these guys, like I just had the Murdies this weekend, and anybody in the stock car racing world knows of, Dallin Murdy.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you, I just got to say this on the air, and he may even be watching too, but one of the most humble family. that kid don't even know how good he is. He's a high school kid. I mean, he couldn't leave early Friday to come to the class for the meet and greet till 2:30 when he got out of high school. But
That's awesome.
yeah, it is. People don't realize, but what a great family, great kid. But when I talked to him, I told Wade, I said, I'm going to get this family to do this. He said, man, you think you can do it? I said, listen, I done 4 or 5 classes in Las Vegas when everybody said I couldn't do it in a hotel. I'm going to do this. But so I tell all these instructors, I told him, I said, listen, if you're not willing to give out good, valuable information, I'm not going to be a part of it. Just don't do it. And I want you, and they did. I mean, they're another one that absolutely, he brought his car that he just raced in Vegas. He won Super Nationals with. He brought it right in with some dirt on it from all them, and
right.
didn't change anything. So the information's there from the guys who win and run up front. If you want to be there to learn it, it's absolutely there.
It is 100%.
Tyson talking in said, hey guys, my wife joined in, says we need another Vegas class. Dwayne said another Vegas class, that'll be fun. We're coming to California, you don't have to drive so far. That's not going to go over with my wife, so that's all right. Trevor Tiffy's in here. We got Tiffany Hately tuning in from all the way from Australia watching. So
nice.
we're getting a worldwide audience tonight.
Well, that's the kind of people Brian brings. I'm telling you, these classes, and I don't speak a lot about stuff that I don't believe in, or I haven't been to myself to see it, because your reputation, as Brian, is everything in the world, and
sure,
your reputation supersedes you every time, and I can vouch for that. It's fun, the mic thing. Kind of getting back to that, they got a cube. You guys that go to the class, you'll see it. It's got a mic inside, because I think it was the very first one we went to. It was a little hard to, and this is where Brian's improved over the years and done this, is the Vegas one, and Roy knows he was at it. Somebody may up front ask a question, and the guy in the back didn't hear it, and the speaker wouldn't repeat the question. So what they've come up with, they got this mic that's in this cube that's, like a Nerf cube, and it comes through the speakers where they're set up. So they throw the mic to you, and you speak into this cube, and everyone can hear what you're saying. It gets recorded on the show, so when you go back, you know what was said. So when they answer and stuff, but we joke about somebody gets darted with that cube. It's soft enough, but yeah, when they throw it across the room, you better have your head on a swivel, because it'll knock your hat off for sure.
Yeah, that's the way it was this weekend.
Rob Gallagher says, hi, Brian, Jay Bryant, both good guys. Don't know that Roy dude. Well,
yeah. What's up, Robbie?
You're one of the few people apparently that does it these days, because I run my mouth a lot here. But
Rob was there this past weekend. He was in Iowa, so I appreciate
probably
him
picking
coming.
up a new stock car that he junked out there and Coca-Cola. Poor guy.
Oh yeah.
Holy crap, that was bad. I felt
that was a bad wreck.
Yeah, it was a bad wreck. Yeah,
that's funny. TV does not do that track justice. I've said that. I've raced that track last year, and it scared the crap out of me, because you are flying. And the TV never does it justice how fast you're going. So I think Medieval built him a good car. He walked away from that, and so I was happy to see that. So.
Yeah, he was there last weekend. He's came before.
Yeah.
I think he got his money's worth out there.
Oh, I'm sure. We've talked about it. I worked on his truck for him and put a big hitch on it for him, and we've talked about your classes. He's like, I love those things. I'm like, yeah, me too. They're a blast,
Yeah. Well, Trevor Tiffy's in here. He signed up for the class. I know that's one. Rick Workman's watching. And the guys that are from the pro sale, and I think that's Rob Gallagher saying he'll be back. So there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's him, but I'm guessing it is. I got so many pages bringing in comments. That's what I'm doing on my phone, scrolling through all the pages that were broadcasted to see who's talking. So, but when we went through the class out in Vegas, we had Kelly Shryock, Ben Baker. I can't remember the guy from Louisiana that was there that was talking.
Yeah,
can't remember.
Kevin.
He's a funny fella. Oh my gosh, he was funny.
Yeah.
And had all them, and I think that's when Dave first started doing the classes. He
hadn't been doing it long.
Yeah.
No,
Dave's a good dude.
Good. Yeah, no nonsense guy. But I'm gonna tell you, I tell everybody this. If you don't know Dave, he could rub you a little around the edges. But let me tell you, and I mean this 100%. There is nobody I know that I deal with that's any more passionate about racing and helping racers than Dave Hammond. I mean, he wants to help racers. when he does these classes. He's been loyal, committed to me. The guy makes the coolest parts in the damn world. I looked at a lot of them when I looked at him this weekend, and let me tell you, he's not an engineer. He does this. He's called me in the middle of the day and like, Brian, I got this idea, and he drew it out on a piece of paper and he gives it to somebody, a draftsman or whatever, that draws it up, and then he ends up building it. So the guy's a lot smarter than he gives himself credit for. But he wants to help racers. He knows what it's like to race by yourself a lot of times, and that's why he makes these tools where you can set up on your car, just as one man band. So anyway, a good guy, and I'm fortunate. He had a pretty bad head injury earlier this year. Crazy deal. He went to sit on a little roll around seat. It was one of them cheap ones that flew out from under him. He fell backwards, hit his head on the axle tube.
Oh shit!
Yeah, bad concussion, and he's never got over it.
Yeah.
His axle tubes are no joke either.
I asked him did it bend the axle tube or his head, but yeah. So anyway, he was scared to fly to get that far, so he was going to originally make this one, and he's like, I said, listen, he was. This is crazy. He was willing to drive. I said, Dave, you ain't driving. We ain't doing that. No, you're not going to drive 18, 20 hours one way. He said, well, I'd do it if you wanted me to.
Well, and I would like to say this real quick too, because you touched on that a little bit. At the Nebraska class, my wife's one of his air cleaners, and it's on her car, and that's her little pride and joy. She loves that thing because it is badass. And so I hit him up and I thanked him for it. I said, hey man, we won your air cleaner. Thank you so much. And I was shocked. I was totally shocked that he goes, all these times I've done this, you're the first person to ever thank me. And I was floored that people don't do that. So if you guys go and win stuff from these guys, hey man, just reach out and tell them thanks, that you appreciate what they did by donating anything they've done, because he's done so many and he's given so much. And I think the second class I went to, Van was out there with the pit lights and stuff, and I didn't know anything about them then. I've got 2 sets or 3 sets of those lights now for all my trailers and stuff. I don't go anywhere without those. And you just got a great group of guys that donate not only product but their time. So I mean, and they're no nonsense, no bullshit. Like I said, everybody talks to you, Dave. I love him because, like I said, he don't pull punches. He's like, I've heard him say, don't run that China shit. I mean, he don't hold back, and that's one thing I love about that man is he's straight up.
Yeah. And watching this, hit the share button on your Facebook page tonight. Let's put this out there because there's people that need to attend this class, whether they know it or not. I guarantee you will not be let down by anything. SpeedUnionTV.com. You can purchase it there. You can call Fred Ryland directly. You can purchase the class through Fred, or you can call Race Logic Chassis Group and they'll set that up. So
we'll get you in for sure. So, well, guys, I do appreciate it, and Ray, like I said, I know you do a lot for racing, with out there on the coast, but I give you my word, I'm going to try 100% to come back next year. I want to do it, and I really think we're going to make something happen. I don't know where, what, we're going to do this one, kind of get our feet wet, let guys know what we're about, and then we'll come back. More than likely, I didn't ask the Murdies, and I'm kind of telling secrets here, but I said, "Hey, y'all want to go to California?" And they said, "Heck yeah, we'll go." Because you think I'm a hick? Wait till you hear them boys. They're farmers. I mean, Damon Murdy, the daddy, got a 6,500 acre farm he farms, and anyway, they're like, "Yeah, we'll go. It's warmer there." And all my crew gets mad because every time we go somewhere, it's colder than hell and snowing. So they want to go out west. I told them, as long as we can stay away from San Francisco, I'd be good.
Well, my shop's always available. I got a lift in my shop. It's big. We can clean it out. And
you may have to bring a boat to get to the shops out here right now.
Oh yeah, that's true. But yeah, if you need a place, if that's the only thing stopping you, man, my shop's in Sacramento. We can figure something out.
20 minutes from the airport.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
Yeah.
Well, I owe it to a lot of people out there that's come and supported me all over the country to go back. And it's just a lot of planning on my end because there's a lot that has to happen.
Oh, a lot. Yeah, behind the scenes stuff's unreal.
So, Jay, I'm going to ask you, and I'm putting you on the spot right here.
Oh, here we go.
If he does the class at your shop, will you do an hour-long welding presentation for all of us that don't know how to weld, so maybe we can learn how to weld a part back on the car?
No problem. Show you how to notch it, weld it, whatever, bend it, whatever you want to do. I don't care.
Hey, that's not a bad idea. I've been asked about some of that. I mean, that's things I thought seriously about incorporating. You ain't gonna teach nobody in an hour, but I guarantee you could probably help a guy that's
Well,
I
got two shops. They're both across from each other. One's my fab shop, and then one's just my race shop and my toy shop. So I've got I think 11 or 12 welders on the other side. So even if we did it on a Sunday and guys wanted to do it, we could, because the classes end early on Sunday so people can get out of town. But I'd set stuff up over there and everybody can run welders and we'll just play and
play around.
Show you what you need to do.
That's not a bad idea, to be honest with you. Anything we can do to
help anybody we can. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm always welding at the track. I bring my welders. I've had guys come up and like, this is broke. It's like, dude, I grabbed that thing. I'm out there welding in my fire suit and I want people to race just like everybody else. I want to beat people on the track, not in the pit, Yeah, one of these days I'll actually be able to do that, beat some people. So it'll be good.
Well, my wife, in response to Vegas, she says, where else can you turn left and get a facial, rotate a little bit, watch a concert, buy a street painting, watch a chubby little man wearing a leotard that has a rubber chicken on his chicken? Nowhere.
There's a lot of truth to that.
There is.
And you can smoke all the marijuana you want and never even have any. Just breathe it.
Right? Yeah, you're high as a kite just walking down.
I don't know how y'all do it out there.
Oh, I hate it.
I said,
I'm with you.
Sure how to not get the welding rod stuck to everything. He's the messiah of welding.
Yeah. Who is?
My wife said that. Said if you can teach how not to get the rod stuck, you're the messiah.
All right.
So, well, I know that Brian's going to want to get off here early. He's got to fly out in the middle of the night to go to his next class. But we wanted to get on and have Brian on here and talk a little bit more and tell everybody, just because the class says pro stocks, or not pro stocks, sport mod. I got pro stocks on the brain. So just because it says sport mods doesn't mean that if you drive a pro stock or you drive a mod or you even drive a stock car or mini stock that you're going to learn something out of this school. I guarantee you.
Oh, yeah. Brian Baker's knowledge with his everything with brakes, cooling systems, all that stuff, it applies to every vehicle you drive. And Waycross, his knowledge of shocks on how a shock works so you have better understanding is unreal. I was buying my shocks before and they had stickers all around them. And he goes, that's the guy selling you shocks, doesn't know nothing about shocks. He's just selling a name because the heat can't transfer. I mean, there's so much I learned about shocks alone, whether it is a sport mod or a mini stock or a dwarf car or whatever you're running. Just the knowledge you gain is unbelievable. Tire prep, all that stuff.
Well, yeah, it just hooking up your throttle linkage. You'll learn a lot just in what your throttle linkage can actually do for you. That's one thing that stood out in the first 10 minutes with Kelly Shryock. It's like, well, I'm an idiot, but that's okay. Didn't even know that. So,
right. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you drive,
Alex Miller said, we just got used to the marijuana smell. So there you go. So, well, we're going to let Brian get off here tonight.
Yep, I got to head out to the airport here in the middle of the night in my time. So I appreciate you guys having me on. Look forward to seeing everybody and look for us again next year somewhere else.
Well, thanks,
come on out to Sport Mod. You won't be disappointed. And looking forward to seeing everybody.
Yeah, and thanks again.
Fred Ryland for bringing this out here to the West Coast. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
So, end it right here.
All right, man.